I don't suppose Donald Trump reads Moskovsky Komsomolets over his morning coffee, but if he did, he wouldn't like this. The headline today: Iran has got Trump by the throat. He messed up and destroyed everything around him, but he wants someone else to clear the rubble and create a new structure. This is, of course, all about him, about Donald Trump. The US president pinned Iran to the wall and practically forced it, for its own survival, to block such a key global transport artery as the Strait of Hormuz. But having made this strange political flip-flop, Trump now demands that other countries, from the UK and Germany to China, engage in resolving this problem in the form of an assault on Iran. Such a formulation of the question is, of course, phenomenal cheek. However, phenomenal cheek is a permanent political characteristic of Donald Trump. It turned out that Trump met his match in Iran. Wanting to strangle the authorities in Tehran, the American leader himself tightened the noose around his own neck and the necks of a significant number of countries that have nothing to do with the US attack on Iran. Mind you, the Russian papers continue to see benefits for Moscow from what Donald Trump has done. Kommersant's headline: Ukraine has lost the war in Iran. Conflict in the Middle East has weakened the positions of Kiev and its allies. Confrontation with Tehran has only strengthened President Trump's intention to distance himself from Kiev, support for whom distracts the US from its main battle. If the US-Iran war continues, it threatens to reduce US weapon supplies to Ukraine. Komsomolskaya Pravda clearly relishes the thought that NATO may have problems from an angry US president. Is it time for NATO to die? NATO allies refuse to help Trump in the Strait of Hormuz. After hearing allies refusing his demand to send naval vessels to the Strait of Hormuz, Trump declared, "I think it will be very bad for the future of NATO." The Russian government paper Rossiyskaya Gazeta predicts likely long-term consequences for NATO if the alliance's American patron feels hard done by. Patronage, you can also use the concept protection from the criminal world, works when the patron, deriving the main benefit from the relationship, takes on certain obligations. If everything comes down solely to the protector benefiting, the wards inevitably have a desire to find an alternative. In the current system, this is difficult to imagine. They cannot do it themselves, but there is no other protection in sight. Now to the 2026 Academy Awards. There is plenty about the Oscars in the Russian papers, not so much about the film Mr Nobody Against Putin that won Best Documentary, a film about the indoctrination of Russian schoolchildren to get them to support Russia's war in Ukraine. The Rossiyskaya Gazeta has nothing about it, neither does Izvestia or Komsomolskaya Pravda or Moskovsky Komsomolets, passes them by completely. Nezavisima Gazeta does mention Mr Nobody Against Putin briefly. Behind the dramatic title, which probably played a role in the film's triumphant path to the Oscar, there is a non-trivial story of Chelyabinsk teacher Pavel Talankin, who, after the events of February 2022, together with American director David Borenstein, began to secretly record materials for a future film about how propaganda is intensifying in one particular school. Kommersant wrote this: Of the winners, the most political speech was made by David Borenstein, one of the directors of Mr Nobody Against Putin, Best Documentary, and the speech dealt exclusively with domestic issues. Others, including his co-author Pavel Talankin, talked mainly about abstract peace around the world or limited themselves to their professional sphere.